Hey y'all. hello. Good morning. It's your girl Sharita, the Behavior and Learning Strategist, coming at you from the Mark Unlimited Growth Institute, where you can find solutions for your child's behavior and learning challenges. What's up? It's your girl Sharita. How y'all doing? Happy Tuesday. I want to talk to y'all about something that just happened in my house. Something crazy just happened for me. Okay, so my husband took our daughter Maya's device away for a week. Okay, he told her she's not getting it. Don't even ask for it for a week. Okay, and I'm gonna talk to you about using cell phones and iPads and things of that nature as punishment, right? And you know your girl is not about to come on here and tell you that you shouldn't do something or you should or shouldn't do something, because I believe that parenting is customized. And actually I agree with my husband 100%, okay? But I just want to talk to you about what happened afterwards. So, and then we're going to do a quick garden tour. Now, hopefully, I'm outside. I'm attempting to do this live outside in the garden. So hopefully the Wi-Fi, everything, the connection continues and we can keep chilling together, okay? So check this out, y'all. Maya has a Kindle Fire. She's had it for a while. And there are certain shows on YouTube Kids that we told her she could not watch, okay? And certain shows she could watch, but she's a curious little 5-year-old girl and she can read everything. So we have to stay on top of her, okay? So my husband walked in. My husband's name is Kevin. It's my high school sweetheart. We've been together since 1997. We met in 1997, so we've been rocking for a long time. We have 2 daughters. For those of you who don't know, we have 2 daughters. We have Jazzy, who's 15, and then 10 years later, we had Maya. All right, so they're 10 years apart. So he walks into her room, and he's like, "What you doing?" And then she flips it down, the Kindle Fire. She's like, "Nothing." So right away, you know she guilty, right? right away, he knew she was guilty, all right? And he's asked her what she watching, and she said Ryan. But then when he flipped it up, he saw that she was not watching Ryan. She was indeed watching one of the shows that we said she could not watch. In this day and age, it's pretty difficult sometimes to monitor everything that our children are exposed to. And that's very important to my husband and I, is to monitor that and make sure that what our girls are exposed to, what they're around, is something that's going to grow them. No foolishness, as my husband be saying. So, when he saw that she had not only did she not was she watching something that she should not be watching, she lied about it, right? So he told her, he took the Kindle Fire and he said she'll get it back in a week. That's it, okay? Because we've told her this before, all right? So I want to stop for a second and just comment on moms in my tutoring coaching program. Mom said, I just chit chat with, and y'all talk about taking away the devices. Whenever I ask what kind of consequences do you use for your child, because we work to improve our children's behavior and learning from home. They say that take away the stuff, take away the iPad, take away the phone, because that's the only thing that seems to work, okay? So, what my question, I always have 2 questions. One is, what would our children be doing with their time? What would they be thinking about? What would they be creating? What would they be accomplishing if they weren't so focused on their devices all the time, okay? Our children are addicted to these devices, especially if they feel like they have to have their phone all the time. And we, as adults, We know it's difficult as well as adults, right? To not check our phone. Sometimes I've been working on that lately, to leave my phone in another room, and I use it for work, but I leave it in another room sometimes for like an hour or two, and I will find myself reaching for my phone for no apparent reason to check for notifications, check to see what's going on, check to see if an email popped up, check to see if something from Twitter popped up, you know what I mean? I'll find myself within an hour reach for it like 10 times and then realize, oh, that's right, it's not here. I'm reaching it for no reason. So if we have that need to grab our cell phones, right? What do we think it's doing to our children? Now, we are grown. We grown, we working, we out here, we got our jobs, our careers, our businesses, and we can function. Our children are still growing and learning, okay? So there's a lot that they could be doing, all right? So I'm talking today, if you just joined, welcome, first of all. Happy Tuesday in the morning. Happy Tuesday morning. I'm going to talk about what happened when my husband Kev took our daughter Maya's device away for a week, okay? And about punishments, using devices as the punishment. And then we're going to do a quick garden tour, because I got some plants and stuff that I bought that I'm really excited about that I want to show y'all, okay? And the girls are going to help me pot them and everything. So it's going down back here, right? We're in my backyard. All right, so that's what I always wonder, okay? What would our children be doing with their minds, their times, if they weren't so focused on their devices all the time? And why is that the only thing that matters to them as far as consequences? Why is it that they won't listen, they won't change, they won't make good choices unless their devices are taken away? Then they're like falling apart. What in the world is that? Okay? So the first 2 days, and then let me know how you feel about that. How you feel about cell phones, our children using, being so focused on their cell phones, their iPads, these devices constantly. What you think about that? Let me know. What do you think about using them as a punishment? Okay. So I'm going to tell you what continued to happen. And like I said, I stand with my husband 100%, okay? I agree. You have to use it responsibly. You have to follow the rules. You have to use it responsibly, okay? But check out what happened. The first 2 days, Maya was losing it, okay? She was losing it. She wanted, and she didn't even have it all the time, because that was the only thing she was doing in her day, because after school she has an independent work packet that she's working on. She's reading at a very high level, but her math, it is higher than kindergarten, but her reading level is way higher than her math. So I started teaching her math more, and having her independent packets include, it's customized, right? So her independent work packet includes reading and reading comprehension questions, which she can read everything on her own, but mostly math. Some spelling, but mostly math, okay? So she does that. She's in my tutoring coaching program, so she has that with her time. She has karate, you know what I mean? But whenever it was some free time, she was grabbing that Kindle Fire. We also come out here in the garden and she run around, you know what I mean? So she got other stuff in her life, but she was really focused on that Kindle. She was so upset. So the first 2 days she was upset, she was complaining. But my husband, if her dad say something, that's it. You know what I mean? So she wasn't complaining to him, she's complaining to me. Right? Y'all know how that is, how the kids be, right? So, but then I started, using that time for her to work more on her independent work packet. And I started saying, all right, reading time. Go get something to read. She read it too quick. And then I said, okay, go grab 3 books. And this is reading time. I wanted her to sit and read quietly. The first 2 days, like I said, it was rough. but by the third day, she was used to it. She would go herself and grab a couple of books. She started reading chapter books instead of grabbing the books that, you know, the small books, little story books. Even though they were above kindergarten grade level, they were still small. She started grabbing chapter books. She asked me if she can she can read Diary of a Wimpy Kid while I was doing her hair. So it used to be she would have her Kindle Fire and watch her Kindle Fire, right? Or we put on a movie. She asked me if she can read as soon as she sat down. She didn't ask for Kindle Fire. She did not ask for the movie. And I was like, go ahead. I'm just watching her. I'm very impressed, but I'm just watching her. And she was reading, honey. She was reading through those pages. She was laughing. She was having a good time. Flipping through the page, not flipping, but reading the pages. And I looked down and she had read a good chunk of it while I was doing her hair. She said, I'm about to read this whole book tonight. But she didn't. She read half of it, which was really good. Okay. And then we were all in the house, and Maya went downstairs to find a Harry Potter book because we were taking turns reading. She read a page, I read a page. She read a page, I read a page. So she went downstairs to the family room to find a Harry Potter book. When she went down there, she let out this scream that scared the mess out of everybody in the house. We all ran. My husband jumped up from the couch and flew over there to the door where the family room is. Like our 5-year-old goes downstairs and she starts screaming, what the heck is going on? So he ran over there and I ran, Jazzy ran, like, what's going on? And she screamed and she's like, ah! And she's the only one. Jazzy and I can't really scream. Whenever we scream, it sounds like a cat, somebody choking a cat or something. But Maya can scream. So she's like, she's like, oh my God. Miss Gurley, her teacher, has the same book in her class. You should have seen my husband's face. You should have seen his face because she screamed like she was in danger, honey. No, she was just really excited. It was cute and it was funny, and it felt good that she got that excited over a book. She was just really excited that she found the same book. It's a chapter book, Midnight Moon. It's like this thick, right? A little, like about this thick. That her teacher showed them and read a little bit to them in school. So she comes upstairs and I'm like, oh, really? Oh, that's cool. And then she starts reading. And then she starts reading the second page and third page. And I noticed, I said, Maya, you're reading my pages. She said, no, I want to read this book by myself. This is the same book I have in school. She was done with me. This is what I talk about, y'all, when we talk about our children functioning independently, y'all. We want them to get to a point where they're saying, I want to do it myself. Okay? And while Jazzy was cleaning the bathroom, we were sitting on the steps. Maya was reading that book and into it. Then she was so excited. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to bring this book to school to show my teacher, right? So I said, sure, you can put it in your book bag. When I picked her up from school, she walked out of there. Y'all, it felt so good to see that. She walked out. Her teacher gave me a thumbs up because we had a little action plan going in school. And if her teacher tells me she got to practice sitting down, that's what she do when she get home. But if a teacher give me a thumbs up, that means she had a great day. And with the independent work packet that I put together at home, the one that I sent to school for her to do, because she's in kindergarten class. They don't skip kids in her class, but they tested her for gifted and talented. But she's way ahead of the class, like way too advanced for kindergarten. So I customized the independent work packet for her to take to school to be able to do while, if she finishes her work fast, she could work on that independent work packet. So between that and the karate that I just enrolled her in, and the system, me and the teacher having a plan, she has improved dramatically. Hi, Danielle. Good morning. We're talking about, my husband took our daughter Maya's device away because he caught her watching something on YouTube Kids, one of the shows that we said she couldn't watch. First couple of days, she was really upset. But then and I had her start reading. Then she started reading 3-4 books in a sitting. Then she started reaching for chapter books because she reads way above kindergarten grade level. So she was reading a book. She did not want me to read it with her. She said, no, mommy, I want to read it myself. Okay. And then, oh yeah, so now we're talking about when I picked her up from school. She came out, the teacher gave a thumbs up. In her hand was the book, the chapter book that she was reading at home. And she asked me if she came down. She gave me a hug, gave her a big kiss, and she said, can I read this book in the car? I said, sure. She got in the car, put her seatbelt on, head in the book. Head in the book. So the Kindle Fire was replaced with a new experience for her. She went from reading storybooks, even though they were above her grade level, right? But now she's reading chapter books where she could keep reading. The story's not over yet. She's getting into it. She's becoming immersed in it. She's learning that the book is better than the show. Or as you know how you say the book was way better than the movie. You got to read the book. She's learning that at 5 years old. All because my husband took away her device and told her she couldn't have it for a week. And I replaced it with reading time. So, hello, Miss Givens, Mrs. Alexander, good morning. How are you? Welcome. We're talking about, girl, let me tell you, Maya had a fit when Kevin took her device away for a week because he caught her watching something we told her she couldn't watch. She was upset at first, and then I had her start reading more, and now she's reading chapter books. She's taking that book everywhere she goes, okay? So the question that we started out with, first I wanted to tell everybody what happened when my husband Kevin took Maya's Kindle Fire away for a week. She couldn't have it for a week. Over this week, of course, she was very upset in the beginning, and she was complaining. Oh, it's starting to rain, y'all. It's starting to drizzle. So I'm going to have to wrap this up soon because I want to give y'all a quick garden tour to show you what I got from Home Depot and what I'm planting with the girls, where we're going to be repotting, where we're going to be putting it, you know what I mean? So I'm going to wrap this up. But the question after that, after he took the device, she was upset for the first 2 days. I had her start reading books. Then she started grabbing chapter books. Now she's reading chapter books wherever we go. When we went to Home Depot, she was reading a book in the car. When we were coming back, she was reading a chapter book in the car. Last night, she asked if she could read a little before she went to sleep. She is really focused on that, so she's immersing herself in reading. And the question I had, 2 questions. One was, how do we feel about taking devices as a punishment? The other one is, what would our children be doing with their time? What hidden talents do our children have? What hidden interests do our children have that they are not actually immersing themselves in and expressing because they always have their eyes glued to their devices? Okay? As far as Mrs. Alexander says, right, and great choice, replace it with the book, right? So that's what I mean. If we use punishment, if we take the device, and like I said, I'm not judging at all, and I stand behind my husband 100% on this. Yeah, absolutely. You use it correctly. You don't watch shows that you're not supposed to watch. There are rules, okay? And if you don't use it responsibly, we take it away. So, but to add, like it's a cherry on top, ask ourselves, what do we want them to use with the time? Do with the time that they were using, and they had their face all in this iPad, all in this Kindle Fire, all in this cell phone. What do we want them to do with this time? Some of it, we're gonna start to see them do something else. So we did start to see Maya start to focus on other things. She found one. Remember those tape measures when we was kids that we used to pull and then all the way to the other end of the room and then let it go and watch it fly all the way back. Remember that? So that's what I know we did that. I know I did that. Me and my brothers, we did that. We had a good time with that. So Maya found one in the house, and she was lifting it up. She was measuring to see how tall I was, right? And she lifted it up in the basement. It's a low basement ceiling, and she realized that the basement, that the top bar was magnetic. So she was excited about that. And then she was holding it there and practicing her karate kicks. This, instead of her free time being used for the kennel fire, she learned about measuring. Okay? And of course, being in the backyard, playing around, you know what I mean? Whenever I come out here in the garden anyway, she coming back here, she want to help. And then in the kitchen helping out, and you know, and then drawing pictures. She started drawing pictures and writing notes to us. What will they do with their time on their own? What will they think about, and what will they start to focus on their own when we take away the devices? And then what can we add to their time? What can we add for them to do that will facilitate their growth? We all know our children. What do they like to do? What do they need to do? We put that in place. So when we take away the devices, let's replace it with something else. And let's watch our kids to see what they're actually interested in, what they get excited about. And don't be afraid to limit your child's use of the cell phone or the iPad. They don't have a right. These kids, they be fighting with their teachers and everything. They feel like they have a right to have a cell phone, and the teacher better not touch the cell phone. This is not my cell phone. You didn't buy that cell phone, and your parents bought it, and I'm sure they didn't give it to you to disrupt the classroom, right? So we're giving our kids too much leeway and too much freedom with these devices. I feel like they need more structure, and I feel like another thing, not just, you know, as a consequence, I know a lot of us use it as a consequence, taking it away, but also replacing it with them and structuring their time so that they grow. But also, how about this? And this is what I tell moms a lot. If your child comes home and they focus on getting on their cell phone or getting on their iPad or watching their shows, and that's what they want to do, and then you calling them to do their homework and they want to fight because they just want to play with their devices and be on their devices. You call them to clean up, do chores, and they don't want to do them. They'd rather be on their device, or they'd rather be playing the game. For all this other stuff, the order is wrong. They come home, they get to play with whatever they want to play with. They get to be on their phone, just chill for a long time, and now you're chasing after them for them to do what they got to do. Let's flip it. Let's have them do what they got to do first and earn time on their devices. You have, in school, they don't get to have their devices and play the game all day. You have language arts or English. You have math. You know what I mean? You have art or gym that day. You have just everything is structured. And then you have recess. You have lunch, and then you get to play outside. Or you have everything is structured in school. And our kids need more structure and more responsibility. So that the phrase in my house, my kids hear all the time is, you give me what I want, I give you what you want. Okay? So flip it. Have them write down the responsibilities you want them to have, what they need to do when they get home from school. If they have a little break to have a snack before, have them have routine and write it down. And then during this time is when you get to play the game, you get to do this, you get to do that, but only if X, Y, and Z are done. Okay? Yes. Shah says, I always told my son he doing structured learning. That's where we work on developmental skills and have fun. Yes, ma'am. And your son is amazing. Structural is where the parent or adult, facilitate what academics they need more practice with. Yes, excellent, right? And that's important too. And that's why we customize independent study time for our children at home, and then we coach them. We get to see really what they're struggling with, and they get to practice. They have to practice every day, right? The fun comes next as a reward, like arts and crafts, baseball, math. My son loved. Very nice. You still love baseball? That's awesome. But that's right. Do that first. We get down to business. Do something that's going to grow us. And then after that, we get to have fun. You get to chill. You get to have your leisure time. But only if this is done. Because when we start doing it like that, our kids won't be so focused on their devices, because they will be growing and they will be working. Our kids need to work, y'all. They need to work. You see this back here? This garden we about to go through, this tabletop garden I'm about to show you real quick. Our kids, my kids back here is working, helping me put everything together, okay? And they feel good. My oldest, they want to do it at first. But we moved on anyway, and now she enjoys it. That's mostly. At first, she don't want to do it, and then next thing you know, she having a good time. So I don't even be paying attention to that mess, okay? Right? So that's really what I want us to get with these devices. Don't be afraid to take them away, but not just as a punishment, but also because what would they be doing with their time? How much growth can they accomplish with the time that they were spending on these devices? It's really robbing our minds. I'm telling you, a couple years ago, I lost my phone. Not lost my phone. My phone wasn't working for 2 days. I was waiting for a new phone. And for 2 days, I had no device. I was going nuts at first. But I sat down and I got a pencil and a paper, or a pen and notebook, and I designed the Morgan Unlimited Growth Institute, the tutoring coaching program that improves children's behavior, literacy, math, focus, all at the same time. And now we have students of all ages, okay? And I'm teaching my first college student as well. But that came from me not having a phone for 2 days. Okay? What could we be creating? What could our children be creating if they weren't focused so much on these devices? So don't be afraid to take them away. Don't be afraid to have a grade requirement to even use a device. They're not entitled to it. And it's robbing them of their genius, honey. It's robbing them of their growth. Okay? Charlotte, Mrs. Alexander said, "You are doing a phenomenal job, Sharita. Sending you hugs and prayers." Oh, you're so wonderful. You know I love you. Thank you so much. And you're doing a phenomenal job too. We got to catch up. Definitely, we got to catch up soon. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to say with y'all. Y'all ready for the first of all, I want to tell y'all, let me see if I could turn this camera around. All right, so we're in the backyard. We're in the backyard, and first I wanted to tell y'all why I have all these plants up on tables. It's because so we're doing a quick garden tour, y'all.